Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today, we're going to talk about people as dollar signs. Welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. I appreciate you joining me today. All you amazing business leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, department heads, supervisors, managers, pretty much all of you that are interested in making your leadership experience better, getting yourself the tools, the mindsets, the tips and techniques in order to be a more effective leader and ultimately create cultures and environments that people want to be a part of, like a team that actually wants to follow you where you're going because your vision is so amazing and so dialed in, and you know how to create that culture to get everyone moving in the same direction. That is the goal of this podcast. My name is Kale Houser, CEO of Kale Houser Leadership, along with my amazing wife, Liz Houser. If you have not had the opportunity and you are in a season that you are growing your team and you are trying to hire and figure out that process of interviewing and you don't even know what questions to ask other than, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You absolutely must help me help you. Go to kalehouserleadership.com, enter in your name and email, get our download for our free guide of the top 10 interview questions you must be asking now in order to find the right people for your business. It will be an absolute game changer for how you conduct your interviews, and it will also give you that insights that you need in order to weed out the ones that will not fit in your environment and culture and start finding and selecting the ones that actually will. And beyond that, start attracting the ones that will actually fit into your environment, your kind of ideal employees. As we're going through this, we have talked about this, or I have talked about this in a couple podcast episodes previous to this, and it's come up several different times. And I'd related this story of one of the gentlemen in our VIP Leadership Mastermind had brought about, a common pitfall and trap is seeing people as dollar signs. And I find myself thinking about this a lot because it's so fascinating from multiple perspectives, and I thought it warranted a podcast episode of its own. Do you see people as dollar signs? As the business owner, as the leader, it is easy. As we're sitting down at our books and we're going through our tabulations and we're making our budget, to see people as dollar signs. All right, I've got room for one vice president, one director of operations, one supervisor, 7 floor workers, and 3 salesmen. Like boom, 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 this is what I'm going to pay each one of them. And you create this amazing spreadsheet. And at the end of all the tabulation, calculation, all right, you're going to make, $1 million this year, whatever that is. But it's easy to say employee number 1, employee number 2, employee number 3, and you assign a dollar value to them. Now, there is absolutely something to be said for budgeting. You need to understand your budget. You need to understand the resources required to hire people. You need to understand the resources you need to invest in them in order to pay them, because that's what a job is. That's what people expect when they come to work. Don't ignore that part. But you cannot see them purely as dollar signs. You cannot purely see them as what kind of revenue are they going to bring to you. Now, another one of my amazing guests, Bob Gavreau, who runs his accounting, the Gavreau agency in Canada, he talked about this because I asked him, they were getting ready to hire a COO. And I said, well, what is your process for going through that of when do you know either you've made enough money that you can afford to hire a COO, or when do you know that COO will bring enough value to your organization to justify the cost? And of course, a COO being a C-suite is more expensive. It's, probably several $100,000 worth of expense in salary. And he said, really, we do the calculations. This is, Bob's input of, we do the calculations that, by this position, it frees up this other resources from these other people, and it allows us to do these other things, and they go through it. Now, of course, they're an accounting firm. This is what they do. They analyze numbers and they do tabulations, and they understand that part of it. But beyond that, I guarantee you Bob's perspective is not, all right, I'm going to hire Mr. COO or Mrs. COO or Ms. COO over here. And because I'm paying them $200,000 a year, I expect them to produce $400,000 a year for me. Like, that may go into it, but they don't look at that person, or Bob doesn't look at that person as only that. Now it becomes, how does that person become a value add to our organization beyond just what they can bring to the table technically or in their experience, beyond the relationships they can bring and the new contacts they can open up for your business? What is your perspective on that as the business leader in your organization? Do you see people beyond just the production the trinkets that they produce at the end of the day and how it moves your revenue forward and upgrades your bottom line? Or do you see them as contributors to your organization as a whole, organically? Maybe not so obvious. Are they the one that people really enjoy gravitating towards? Are they the ones that are hosting the weekend barbecues to help create that community and culture? Because maybe you're not so good at hosting barbecues. Maybe you're not so good at those external events to help people become part of your team. But that COO, that supervisor over there, that other frontline worker employee is really good about that. And they're bringing that kind of value to your organization that goes way beyond the return on investment of the $10 an hour you're paying them and the $20 that they bring in. You really have to look at the value of each person and each team member and what they bring beyond just the monetary, beyond the dollars. And this comes back to your commitment to them. As this relationship continues and grows and expands and you learn more about, weaknesses, strengths, capabilities, desires, goals, experience, all the things, is your commitment to them increasing and expanding because you're seeing their value beyond just the financial? And as they see your commitment to them as a company, like, hey, you're doing so fantastic here. We want to get you into these training programs. We want to increase your skill over here so we can move you up over here. And I know, you've never held a leadership position before, but we're going to do it right and give you the actual tools. We're going to make sure and get you enrolled in the VIP Leadership Mastermind so you get all your questions answered. And you're going to subscribe to the Kale Houser Leadership podcast and you're going to read these books. And we're going to set you up for success. How are you committed to them to where they in turn are continuing to be committed to you and your organization? And this is what leaders do. We do not see people merely as dollar signs. We see them for what they are capable of, what their potential is, and where you can help grow them and help ultimately turn them into leaders, because that's what we want to do. Because no different than you, everyone in your organization needs two things to be successful. Do you remember what they are? Do you know what they are? Are they written on your computer monitor on a Post-it note to remind yourself? To be successful in this thing, what do I need? Well, there's only two things: the right information and the proper guidance. Make sure you are giving both of those things to your people as I am trying to give those two things to you. This is a flow of information, not a bucket of information where I just pour into you and you hoard it all for yourself. Because if you are truly trying to be an amazing leader in your organization, then you will in turn flow these principles into your people. If you need help with that, absolutely reach out to us. I would love to do so. VIPLeadershipMastermind.com. That will get you direct access twice a week live for about an hour each time. We do a call with a training, Q&A, hot seat, like whatever's going on with our members. And we can mastermind in that sense and learn from each other, not just me talking or lecturing or anything like that. So that is the intent of that. If you have not checked it out, we're doing a promotion of half off your first month. No obligation necessary, no commitment required, just month to month, and show up for as long as it's beneficial to you. And I believe 100% with all my heart that will be beneficial to you and absolutely worth the cost. So yeah, help me help you with that. Because like I said, you only need two things: the right information and the proper guidance. Let me do that for you. Okay, so if you are in the position, as a recap, to see people as dollar signs and that's it, you go home at the end of the day and say, all right, employee number 7, good job. You made me $700 today. Employee number 4, you're not doing so hot. You actually cost me money. Like, what goes beyond that? You have to work beyond that if you are wanting to actually be around in the next couple of years with a team that is there to support you and help you reach your goals and get to that end game. All right, a little bit shorter one today. Hope you're doing fantastic. I appreciate you joining me as always. If there's anything I can do for you, shoot me an email, Kale Houser Leadership, a DM. Likes, comments, subscribes, and shares are fantastic. Helps me reach more people and get the word out. We'll talk to you soon. No matter where you're at in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.